Hello guys. Yes, yesterday we had left from here. Means we had completed the demand for money and functions of money and introduction. Fine. I'll show you through my notes once. Yes. Uh, yeah, yesterday we had completed the introduction portion, functions portion, demand for money portion. Now what? Now we are beginning through the theories on demand for money. Yes. So we will first read it out from module, and then we will go through the pointers as I was making you to do yesterday. And yes, the same notes and the highlighted words will be posted on my Telegram channel. And if you have any queries regarding the first lecture or this second lecture, then you can ask me on my Telegram, and even you can message me on Instagram, right? Yes, let's go through the module. Here it is. Theories on demand for money. Okay, there are three Keynesian theories, or you can say pre-Keynesian theories, and three post-Keynesian theories. Which are those? First is quantity theory of money. What it is? Quantity theory of money. Let me explain that only. In this quantity theory of money, yes, I will firstly, what I do in this case of theories, I will explain you the concept of theory, and then we will go through the module. This quantity theory of money is what, like, why you demand money, generally why anyone needs money, to have command over the commodities, right? Like if you want to buy anything, or any goods or any services you want, then for that you have to pay, right? So you will pay through the money, right? So that's why you demand the money. That simple concept is defined in economics terms in this theory. It is Irving Fisher of Yale University, and it is found where it is in his book The Purchasing Power of Money. It is in his book Purchasing Power of Money. And what this theory stands, as I said you, this is for mainly for the money needed for doing day to day transactions, right? So here it is a strong relationship between the money and the price level. Like if you have more money, you will feel to spend it and purchase more things. Like if you want, let's say for example, if you want rice, for rice what you need money, and you have more money, you will purchase more rices, and you will purchase even wheat or even any other things, right? But if you have less money, then what you will do, you will sacrifices your needs, right? So there is a strong relationship, means what, that you have more money, you will purchase more, right? Okay, next, the most important thing is that the another name of this theory, it is classical approach, QTM, equation of exchange or transaction approach. Please remember these all the names, because I may ask you as a short note, like write a note on transaction approach, write a note on classical approach, or in any of the given names, right? So please remember those all the names, right? Yet next, yes, the equation here given by the Fisher, what it is MB is equals to PT. Let me explain you first this equation. What it is, M means what, M stands for total amount of money in the circulation. Like let's say there is rupees 200, okay, in whole market only 200 rupees are there for the circulation. And then V is velocity, means how much times they are rotated. Like it has been rotated for 10 times, right? So 200 into 10, 2000, fine. And next is P and T. P is average price level, means average price of any of the commodity. You can say it as a 10 rupees. And T, the total number of transactions, means how much times you buy the commodity costing rupees 10, that is 200. So 200 into 10, 2000. So both the things mean equal. This is the equilibrium, you can say even, fine. Yes, let's read out from the module. And yes, the extended version is, they had added M dash V dash. What is M dash V dash? Here in first equation, what it was M, the total amount of money in only hand, right? But nowadays we keep even in banks too, right? So how much times they rotate in the banks is V dash, and the amount of money in the banks is M dash. Got it? Again repeating, is what the cash or amount you have in your hand, and V is what the number of times the amount which is in your hand is being rotated, and M dash is the amount in the banks, and V dash is the number of times it is rotated. Fine. And P and T we already know. Yes, once again I will also repeat the same. P and T is average price of the commodity. Like in given example, I told you it's rupees 10, and T is the total number of transactions, means how much times we buy that commodity. Let's read out from here. Yes, I told you I'm dash the total quantity of credit money. Credit money means the money which is kept in with the bank. Money which is kept in with the bank. Okay. And so next is, yes, even the one which is for precautionary motive is also known as temporary abode. Temporary abode, which what it means, same meaning as a hedge against uncertainty. In this paragraph, this what it is written is what I told you about the transaction approach and this precautionary approach. Fine. Yes, let's go through the next paragraph. Yes, the precautionary demand depends on what? It depends partly on income and partly on other factors. On other factors means like what? That some are weak people, which needs more consultant to the doctor, so they needs more money. Fine. But there are many other factors like that, which here are not described the exactly what factors, but here it is said partly on income, partly on other factors. Fine. So income means you have 100 rupees as your earning, so you keep 10 percentage for uncertainty. That's what it depends on income and on other factors I explained you. And it have, of course, they have the direct relationship. 110 percentage, then it is 10 rupees, and then your income increases to 200, so 210 percentage, what it is, 20 rupees. So it is directly related to that. Here I had marked it positive relationship. Okay. Let me explain you this equation, what it stands for. Here MD means what? The demand for money for precautionary purpose. MD is demand for money for precautionary purpose. PY is what? PY in together is national income. What now? What the national income is? We have the whole chapter for that in national income. There I will explain you in the detail what national income it is. But we all know basic meaning of the national income. Fine. P and particularly P means the average price level of goods and services. What I explained you in PT, the theory of Fisher only, right? And Y is what? Real national income. Real national income. Fine. There are two types of national income: real national income and another was current national income. Means what it is, one is of market price and other one is of factor cost, that I will explain you in the chapter number 1 of national income. Fine. So proportion of the income, K is what? The proportion, that likewise I told you 10 percentage, 20 percentage, and PY is what? Is your income. Fine. Got it? MD is money demand, K is proportion, PY is your income. Okay. Here it is said Cambridge K. Okay. Many times it comes you like explain the Cambridge K equation. Fine. And yes, one more important line: ratio of total transactions to income, and the ratio of desired money balances to transactions. It depends, the K depends on these all the things. Means what? That I told you that how you determine that 10 percentage you want, it depends on other factors. So ratio of transactions to income means how many times you have to go, you have 2 times, 3 times that. And ratio of desired money balances means you want to keep 100 rupees, 10 rupees as your uncertainty, that. Fine. Yes, one another one line: changed the focus of the quantity theory of money to money demand. Yes, so we are done with two theories. The first theory of Fisher, it was regarding what? The transaction motive, and the second one, Cambridge approach, was for precautionary approach. Got it? Yes. Let's go through the pointers. Cambridge approach. It is by Cambridge economists. I given you the name of the four economists. It increases the utility. And the relationship with income and other factors, I told you the equation, that is MD is equals to K into PY, which I explained you, and Cambridge K. Okay, so these 5 pointers if you cover in your theory, then your marks will have less chance to be deducted. Got it? Yes, in the next theory through module. And if you want to revise it once again, you can even go through this, and have any queries, then please ask me. I'm there to reply all your queries. Fine. Now the most important theory, Keynesian theory, the most important theory which can be asked you for 2 marks, 3 marks, or as many as marks the I say I want. But remember, this is the most important theory. Fine, you have to go through it. The another name of this is liquidity preference theory or liquidity preference. I told you earlier only, you need to remember the another name of the theories. Fine, it is from which book? The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. Okay. Yes, these are not the things which I should explain you, because I can explain you the another name or books. Fine. So but that thing you have to remember only. Yes, the three approaches now. Transaction approach. Now, Keynesian, what he did, he had added one more motive, that is speculative motive. Baki, transaction motive and precautionary motive, I already explained you. Yes, here the another equation of the Keynes is different, but the meaning, or the, you can say, the concept of transaction is the same. Yes, why this transaction motive means why we keep the money. For this I'm giving you very good example. You know that everyone gets salary when is it given on daily basis to everyone? You give daily 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, 10,000 rupees to your directors or employees? No, you give them monthly salary. Fine. But expenditures are like done on the same date only. No, you gradually buy the things whenever you need. So there is lack of synchronization. The most important line here is, wait, I mark you with that different color itself. Yes. Yeah, the lack of synchronization between the receipts and expenditures means what? You get the payment, means you get the receipt of the money on first date of the month, but you expend it gradually, right? So here LR is the transaction demanded for the money. Means the money demand for the transaction approach is LR, that is K is the proportion of Y is the income. Fine, the proportion of the income you keep for the transaction is LR is equals to K into Y. And how we can find the aggregate transaction demand? By summing up the individual demands. Fine. Yes, next, precautionary motive. For the unforeseen or unpredictable contingencies, we keep the money, that is known as an precautionary motive. Okay, which is so simple. Once read it and marks all these words. These are all available on my Telegram channel also. Yeah. Next, speculative demand for money. That is it necessary that everyone will held only the cash? If you have the extra money, don't you invest in any interest earning securities? Right, that is speculative demand. Means what? The demand for the money for keeping it as an investment, or keeping it in a bonds or anything, right? Yes, I read it out this concept from module itself, so that you can get the better understanding, or you will know the better how to write the words of the module. Fine. The two are so easy, so I had explained you in that way. Yes, people's desire to hold the cash. And next, what it is, yeah, the I told you speculative motive reflects the people's desire to hold the cash in order to equipped to exploit any attractive investment opportunity. For investment we keep. The next is take advantage of the future changes in rate of interest, like you will get more interest, and you can earn more, or like something. Yes, the whole detailed explanation I gave you over here. Right now it is very basic, which we will not get even without learning the whole theory. Fine. Yes, next is the return on bonds. Right, I told you that there are some bonds also, we can invest the money over there, by which you can earn the interest. Okay. Yes, mainly the your demand for speculative purpose depends on what? Depends on interest payments and the expected rate of capital gains. Means what? When you sell your bonds or sell your investments, then what the return you will get depends on that. Fine. The market value of the bonds and the market rate of interest are inversely related. I explain you. Or yes, here it is. MRP, suppose the bond price is rupees 100 and the interest rate is rupees 10 percentage. So if either of the things happen, right, either MRP goes up means it wins 200, so interest rate will fall to 5 percentage, and if the interest rate is falling to 5 percentage, the bonds price will increase to 200 rupees. Fine, got that? Yes, this was the example for this. Next is, yes, so I told you that they both are the inversely related. Okay. Fixed conception of the no yes, there are two types of interest. One is normal or critical interest rate, and the another one is the current rate. Like the normally rate is say like 5 percentage, but current rate can be more, can be equal, can be less. Okay, three of them. Yes, so we understand firstly about the current rate of interest is high. Okay, we will continue the above example only, which I told you. In that, the suppose let's say the normal rate is 7 percentage, but here the highest interest rate is 10 percentage in our example which I had shown you over here. Okay, the interest rate of 10 percentage and MRP is of 100 rupees. Okay, current rate is high than the normal rate was 7 percentage. So the what we expect now, we will expect that the rate of interest will increase. Okay, the rate of interest, sorry, the rate of interest is increased, so we expect that the rate of interest will fall. Okay, so in this situation, what we will do? We will convert the cash balances into the bonds. Fine, because I told you the interest rate will fall. We expect that interest rate will fall, so MRP will increases. So if we now don't buy for the 100 rupees, then we have to buy for 200 rupees. Okay, here I had written even the note for you all guys that must remember these reasons, because many times I ask you that why when the current rate interest is high than the normal rate, we have to convert the cash into the bonds is preferable. Okay, so here I show you the reasons. Okay, fine, let's move further. Must remember the reasons. What are the reasons? I explain you. Yes, they can be, they can earn high rate of return on the bonds, and they expect capital gains because right now the interest rate is high, so you can earn 10 percentage, and even in future when price goes to 200 rupees, you can sell it and you can gain the 100 rupees capital gains. Okay, got it? Yes, next. Mm, yeah, consider the current rate interest as a low. Means what? Now we have continued the same example. So yes, when the normal rate is 7 percentage, what you do, you expect that current rate is, you assume that current rate is 5 percentage. Fine. So what you will feel, you will feel that now in the future they will go to 10 percentage, and at that time what you have to do, you have to purchase the bonds when the price falls and interest rate goes high, because right now interest rates are lower and prices are also high. Okay, the reason is that, and we understand in the language of the module what are the reasons. Yes, the reasons that to convert the bonds in the liquid or cash are: interest income foregone is small, you have to forego only 5 percentage rate of interest. Okay, in future what you will get? 10 percentage interest rate. Then the next is, you can avoid the capital loss. Yes, got it. You can avoid the capital loss by way of, like, you will purchase right now at 200, then price will go at the 100. By that time you cannot sell at the 200, but because I bought at 200, so I will sell at 200. No, right now don't purchase. Purchase when the prices go at rupees 100. Fine. Return on money balances will be greater than the return on alternative assets because there is only 5% interest. Okay. And we can rather than earning 5% we can purchase anything else or like that same way. Okay. Fourth, the interest rate does increase in future, the bond price will fall. Buy bonds at the lower price. That this thing I had already explained you that in future the interest rate will also go up and the bond price will be low, so both will be beneficial for us. Yes, the current rate of interest is higher. So yeah, the it is the summary type things. The current rate is higher, then you don't buy the sorry, then you buy the government bonds, and then current interest is lower, then keep your money as a cash. The speculative demand for money and interest are inversely related. Fine. Yes, the graph here is the individual demand. At R1, it is M1. At R2, it is M2. As and as it is decreasing, the money demand is increasing. The rate decreases, price increases. So money demand what? Increases because the prices are high. Got it? Yes. The very easy and my favorite topic, liquidity trap. But before that, let's look the pointers of the Keynesian theory. Yes. What we have learned in the Keynesian theory. Keynesian introduction, there are three motives: transaction, precautionary, speculative. In transaction motive, what we learned? We learned meaning, direct relation with the income, equation of LR is equals to K into Y, right? Then aggregate demand I told you by summing up the individual demand. Precautionary, the meaning and those factors which we had even learned in the Cambridge approach. Speculative, about the higher interest rate, like the current rate is 10 percentage and normal rate is 7 percentage, all that reasons and all we had learned. And lower interest rate means current rate is 7 percentage, sorry, current rate is 5 percentage and normal rate is 7 percentage. Understood? Yes, I hope guys you are enjoying the lecture. Yes, let's go through the module. And what I do is I'm making you done through the concept of liquidity trap. And what I do for the next three theories, I will make one another video because this video will go long. Then it is unable for you to read it out in easy way because the earlier was around of 30 minutes, so I'm thinking that each and every lecture of 30 minutes only. Yes, so let's complete the liquidity trap and ends up our session over here only. Fine. Liquidity trap, what it is said, the simple concept which we had learnt earlier, it is very simple concept, that's why only I love it. Yes, the higher interest rate is means current rate is high, then opportunity with cost will also high. Suppose in our example the current rate is in 10 percentage, so if you don't invest then your opportunity cost will be high. So what you will do, you will not hold money. Okay. And vice versa, if the rate is low, the further it cannot go the further low and it will move upwards. So by the time what you will so you will keep money with you only, that when it will increase the interest rate and bond prices will fall, as I shown you the indirect relationship. And almost a certain risk of a capital loss. I told you that if now the prices will be 200 in our example at 5 percentage interest rate, and in future it will be 100 rupees, so our it is capital loss over here. Okay, fine. So this is capital loss. And now desire to hold bond is very low because the prices are high and the interest rate is lower. Yes, investors would maintain the cash. Okay, because they will not buy bonds, and perfectly elastic with respect to interest rate. Like what, that interest rate will be increases, the money will be invested more in the bonds. It will decreases, then it will money will be kept with us more. This is what, this is liquidity trap. Okay. The second paragraph is very easy. Opportunity cost of holding money is zero. The authority increases the money supply. Like you have no opportunity cost of holding money, means you have very nominal interest rate, either 1 percentage or 2 percentage. So what you will do, you will hold the money. So even RBI supply more money, what you will do, you will hold it. You will not invest in anywhere. Fine. uh, so it has even also known as ineffective monetary policy, because you are not affected by any interest rate or something, right? So you will not even invest, so money supply will not as wished by monetary authority. Yes, the liquidity trap evidence, or you can say example or case study, was in United States and Europe, and mostly the developed economies are said to be faced in liquidity trap. Okay. Yes. Next, increase in income increases the transactions and precautionary demand. We had studied these things two to three times earlier only. Yes, you can say that one thing was written the most of times in this chapter. The money income increases, transaction demand and precautionary demand increases, and if the rate of interest decreases, then the money demand will decrease for the hand and increase for the speculative purpose. Got it? Yes. So we end up by here by looking the pointers. Okay. Yes, the liquidity trap. What we had seen the meaning: higher interest rate, so higher opportunity cost and all. Yes. Second, it makes the monetary policy ineffective, and the case study or example we had seen in developed economies. And the conclusion: higher income, higher transaction demand, higher precautionary demand. Fine. You're finding, I guess, this chapter very easy. Yes, because it is actually very easy. And thank you so much for watching the lecture till here, and subscribe my channel for the third part of this unit, and that will be going to be the last part, because now only three theories are left out, and which I most probably upload till tomorrow. Fine. And before going through it, even go through the first part so you can get the easy knowledge. And yes, this is the final PDF for second part. For third part, even means second and third part are also included in this, and this what the same I will upload on my Telegram channel. Go there, join there, and subscribe that, and even download the notes from there. And there are many other summary notes even on my Telegram channel. You can go and check it. Yes, thank you guys. If you like the same, like it, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you. See you all in the next video.